Welcome to Cantina Vizsla. For the safety of the bartenders and any other patrons, remember to keep all arms, legs, tentacles, or any other extremities you may have to yourself at all times. So come right in, grab a drink, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Coming to you from the Panic Room in the crap part of the cantina, I'm Sparrow, and with me, as always, is a man who some say, when he's going somewhere, he waits, and then somewhere comes to him. All I know is I call him Stan.
Man, I get great gas mileage.
Almost as good as a Tesla, right?
Almost, yeah.
Almost.
Yeah. It takes a little longer to get there, but it pays off in the end.
But it's worth it. It makes those hard-nosed farms so much better.
I wouldn't go that far.
No?
No.
Panic farms? Something?
Who's panicking? Not me.
No one panics, right?
No. It's just a fun, relaxing game to kill some time and just relax.
That's right. So, what has been going on this week?
Oh, man, I am trying to get just going. That winter break just really did a number on me. So I'm trying to just get back in the swing of going to work and having responsibilities and just interacting with people. It's been kind of rough getting back into it, but I'm slowly but surely getting there. So my brain doesn't seem to completely work this week. We're going to go with that as the reason why.
Yeah, I know the feeling. I keep going to work and I'm like, oh, is it over yet? And I look down at the clock and it's like 2 hours have gone by and I'm like, oh, it's going to be a long day.
Yeah, then you get done with work and it's dark already and it's cold and there's really nothing to do. It's just, come on, spring, hurry up. It's
getting better. It's a little bit brighter out than it has been, but it's not quick enough, that's for sure. So, what have you been doing other than struggling through work? I mean, anything else going through?
On? Without being able to get outside much, been trying to do some things around the house. If you're on the Discord, I like to collect action figures, so I've been working on some cooler ways to display them than just throwing them all on a shelf or just having boxes everywhere. So I got some shadow boxes and trying to put together little mini dioramas with those, and we'll see how that goes. It's something to do. Been listening to Rogue One Catalyst. Finished that up. That was actually really good. I wasn't expecting much out of it, but yeah, it starts off pretty slow. But once you're like how a lot of the Star Wars books do, but once it picks up, it's got some really interesting things in it. It really expanded Krennic and Galen Erso's relationship and some of the Empire politics with Tarkin. It touches on some of the science behind the kyber crystals and how they used them to make the Death Star weapon. Just lots of cool little details in it. So if you're looking for something to read or listen to, check that one out.
Yeah, so does that follow like Jyn and Cassian, or
no?
What are the main characters in that one then?
Galen Erso and Orson Krennic.
Oh, okay.
They're the main characters. You get a little bit of Galen's wife.
So kind of the backstory and the creation of Rogue One with Jyn and
no, not even that. It's really just kind of.
I meant more like her family, like her dad and mom, and like that whole interaction between Krennic and them. That kind of starts Rogue One, I should say.
Yeah, it's mostly about the construction of the Death Star. It goes from the Clone Wars when it was a separatist project up into the Empire taking it and how it was built, the secrecy behind it. I don't want to spoil too much of the story, but there's a lot of backstory there. Just how the
secrecy behind it, how they hit a planet-side space station.
Yes, and what lengths they would go to keep it secret. And it really explains why, Galen would, everybody's seen Rogue One at this point, but why he would design the Death Star with the trap in it.
Gotcha.
And in the Audible version, the voice actor is just amazing. His voices are spot on. So that's even more of a bonus.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. I've been kind of doing the same thing as you, trying to go through and make the winter days suck a little bit less by going through. I went out and picked up some projects and everything just to work on, kind of like you're making shadow boxes. I've found some cool little like lights and everything that I'm going to mount and put LEDs in and clean up and everything and put up around the office and try to make it look better. Have to finish a whole bunch of little stuff up. But
yeah, you ain't just see that. It's kind of on my to-do list too. Is I really want to get my recording quote unquote studio and office a little more cool looking. So if we ever go video, you'll have some neat stuff to see in the background.
Yeah, I'm trying to set up a corner to be able to do that also. So maybe one day.
One day we'll get there as we continue to grow the Cantina Vizsla empire.
Well, that and we were going over stuff yesterday, and all of a sudden I was wrapping things up, and all of a sudden Game of Thrones dropped their new teaser trailer with their...
Oh, yes, it did.
Yeah, that was absolutely amazing. It looks even better. I saw it like half hour after it came out. 40 minutes later, people are already putting up fan theories on why Bronn wasn't in it, where he was at, what everything means, the symbolism behind everything. And I'm like, wow, these guys are on point as far as getting this stuff out.
Yeah, it's there's people that are on it.
It's absolutely amazing. Yeah. But April 14th, I can't wait to wrap it up. That way Martin can actually release the books again, hopefully, and see how he wraps up the story.
Yeah, it's going to be cool to see the difference. And looking at the date, I'm going to be at Celebration when this thing drops. So hopefully I get some good service and we'll be able to stream it, or at least be waiting in line next to somebody else streaming it. So that could be pretty fun.
Yeah, I'm sure someone will have to have that popped up, or you'd be able to go to a bar actually and be able to watch it, because they'll have watch parties and everything, especially around Chicago. But let's start getting into the game here. Did you get anything done this week?
Not really. Nothing too interesting. I've just been focusing on just getting those bounty hunters ready to go.
Yeah. I went through and kind of was looking at my stuff, and I was like, since we recorded last, I didn't even remember doing some of this. So I actually did get Pat Blue to Gear 12, which gives me a complete Golden Ewok team, which is pretty exciting.
Yeah, that's very cool.
Then, like, one other milestone I hit, I'm not really quite sure how I feel about it, because we saw the Millennium Falcon get announced with everything going on with that. Saw the pilots were Raid Han and Chewbacca, and I have them Gear 12 with Zetas, so there was no way for me to actually go through and stay underneath 4 million GP as soon as I got that ship unlocked. So I just went through, started upgrading characters and upgrading mods, and wasn't really worried about my GP then, and I'm bumped up over 4 million GP now, and I plan on staying there.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, we're going there. Got my Zeta saved up, ready to go, and we're getting there. So 4 million GP. Next Grand Arena is going to be a little bit of another learning curve, because with an extra team in there.
Yeah, it should be fun. And speaking of, come on, Grand Arena, come back. We miss you.
Everybody's been asking about that. So, went through, that's what we did in the game. I mean, there's got to be Star Wars news, maybe? Game of Thrones couldn't have taken over the whole week, right?
Oh, no. Resistance is back from its mid-season break. We got a new trailer. They have confirmed Season 2 for fall of this year, and things are picking up. The second half of the first season really looks to be going places. You see a animated version of Hux's speech at Starkiller Base, so you'll see the fallout of that with the Resistance characters, and they look to be transitioning from kind of race pilots to combat pilots, and that really bumps them up in kind of, what's the word here, probability for being in Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, because they'll be actually doing some fighting now.
Well, that, and we always need more ships. They keep building up that game mode, so I mean, you add a lot more characters with each individualized ships too. I've noticed in that series, everybody flies a very unique ship, so it's very easy. Would be very easy to translate into the game.
Yeah, definitely. And if you're still on the fence with Resistance, man, check it out. It's getting good.
Yeah, it's definitely worth a binge watch. And then getting into it, yes, there's those oddball episodes in which it's kind of childish, but the overall plot line, I think, is there.
Yeah, I think so too. And if you're on you want something else to binge, they finally put Solo on Netflix. You probably didn't know it, but it's on there now.
Yeah, we went through, and I forget, someone in our Discord went through and mentioned it, and then it's like, you can't find it anywhere on Netflix. When you try to type, if you just type in Solo, it actually doesn't show up in the automated search feature. And then when you do search for just Solo, it comes up with the Spanish version of it first. And I had to go into the Spanish version and then found other movies you may like. Hey, there's the English version. So it is very buried in all of Netflix's algorithms right now.
Yeah, I wonder if it has something to do with kind of the Disney Netflix drama going on. Yeah. We'll show it, but we're not going to like it.
Yeah, I think that's more of what it is, because I have everything else streamed between Clone Wars and all the current movies. I was just watching The Last Jedi like last week, so it should have populated in my recommended feeds when it came out, and it didn't even do that. So they definitely have the algorithms very buried on Netflix. So if you haven't seen Solo, I definitely recommend fighting with Netflix to actually go through and find it on there. It is on there, and it is definitely worth a watch.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
And then what else we got?
It's even better the second time.
Oh yeah, there's a whole bunch of hidden little Easter eggs all the way through from the original movies, little hints and throwbacks to it all the whole time.
Yeah. Let's see. In other Star Wars news, they announced a lot of voice actors will be a Celebration. Not a huge surprise, but something I'm looking forward to. They got Matthew Wood, the voice of General Grievous, and a sound engineer for Lucasfilm. He's going to be there. James Arnold Taylor, the voice of Kenobi, and some other actors that I can't remember off the top of my head, but they'll be there. So cool.
I'm sure a lot of Clone Wars actors hyping up the new season of Clone Wars.
Yeah. I hope they have a panel. That would be pretty cool to see.
Yeah, I'm sure they will, because that should be right around the time when they're starting to build up expectations for it. I would imagine there would even be a trailer that would be released right around Celebration.
I could see a trailer. I could also even maybe see a rough draft full episode.
Yeah, that would be very cool.
I think they've done that before. So
yeah, lots of exciting things happening.
That would be exciting. Worth waiting in line for.
Lots of lines. So let's get into the game. I did notice they went through and updated the calendar kind of stealthily. They mentioned in their original post that they would be updating it and filling it in as we go through the month, and then they never announced that they filled it in, but it definitely did get filled in. Did you see
sure.
this?
We are recording. We're recording on the 14th, and we've got Luke's hero's journey going in, and I wish we could replay that. I don't care if it was even for no rewards. This is such a good piece of content. It's a shame that it's a one and done deal. But we got just normal events going on now. Ewoks and Empire mega battles, daring droids going on. We got Defense of Dathomir, and really just got a Rebel Roundup, pieces and plans, legendary coming up with Mythic. Let's see. Nothing too crazy that's on the calendar, but just something big coming up.
Yeah, we got the single Grand Arena. We did go through and, let's just get right into it. We went through right after we finished recording last week. Went through and they dropped a puzzle for basically the next legendary event. Went through and had a chart of parsecs and travel time and everything like that. And
It was a heck of a puzzle.
Yeah. It took everybody. It was over 24 hours by the time everybody finished it up. They did have to drop a few hints because I don't know how you would be able to figure it out on your own without a couple hints to figure out what type of cipher they used.
Yeah, they ended up using a bacon cipher. You had to decode a login to the forums, and once you got in there, the profile had a bug report that had another file attached to it, and you had to decode that. And like Scoundrels for Life was the password, and really at the end of the day, it just came down to, hey, Millennium Falcon's coming.
So it was kind of much ado about what everybody already knew was coming into the game.
Right. And it's kind of a shame because it was a really good puzzle, but we all kind of saw the answer a mile away.
Yeah, as soon as they went through and had a parsec chart, I'm like, oh, yep, it's the Millennium Falcon coming into the game. So they announced this. They did throw in a little update into the game to throw, obviously, all the crystal packs, because, that's a thing. And all the crystal packs, when they went into the game, had a 14-day time limit. So that actually, what did we figure out the date of the start of the event would be?
Should be the 17th, 16th or 17th.
Yeah, so it was going through, we were figuring basically a week from, here, Thursday, the 17th, Thursday or Friday this week. And that would give us a week since they announced Millennium Falcon, and then go through and have a week for the event. And that would be the full length of the pack. So it makes sense. Any thoughts on the puzzle?
And it was cool. I mean, those things, that's not my area of expertise. I'm never going to solve one of them, but it is very cool watching the community come together to solve them. And I hope they keep doing them.
Yeah, I definitely enjoy not so much trying to figure them out, going through and actually watching people and kind of figuring out how many different type of puzzles they are and what they're announcing each time.
Right.
On how they actually went through and how they figured it out is very cool to see.
Yeah, there was a word search as part of this puzzle, and I could do some of that.
Some of that. Not all of that.
That's more my speed. Yeah, no, not all of it.
But the other thing they went through, so after they went through and announced that the Millennium Falcon was coming out, the update came out with those packs, and it said you can have any 3 bounty hunter ships to unlock this Millennium Falcon.
And there was much rejoicing.
5 minutes later, it was edited that you can use any 4 bounty hunter ships.
And there was much not rejoicing.
Wait, what? Any 4?
Yeah. There's only 4. But you can use any of them.
Yeah.
Any combination of 4 of the 4.
4 of the 4 that we have. So, yeah. I don't know if that wording was intentional or they should just put all 4 bounty hunter ships, or if this is kind of leading up to that they actually have the writing on the wall. They have it planned out. There's possibility of more bounty hunter ships coming out. We talked quite a bit that Zam Wessel has a cool ship. Dengar has a cool ship. Django obviously could have a ship. So maybe it just means that they're actually planning here at some point to have more ships come in, bounty hunter ships to come into the game.
I think it's a little bit of that, a little bit of just future proofing. It does seem like a lot of the descriptions now are a little more open ended, so they don't have to go back and change them or be caught somewhere, with wrong information they have to update down the road.
Yeah, true. So this leads to a very important question. How are you looking for the Millennium Falcon?
I'm looking pretty good, I think. I've got Houndstooth, 7 stars. I've got Slave 1, 7 stars. My Xanadu Blood is 76 of 100. And my Laggart of IG 2000 is at 31 of 100. So definitely 6-star. I'll probably end up having to buy a couple of packs of the IG 2000 to finish him up before the deadline. But I'm feeling pretty good, pretty confident about it.
How about you? That's not bad at all. I am So we did predict this. We did say these were going to be needed for a ship. We didn't think it was going to be... We weren't positive that was the Millennium Falcon, but we did say they were going to be needed for something, and both jumped on them. So I have Houndstooth at... I just got the Houndstooth to 6 stars, which is fine. When it comes to Xanadu Blood and IG-2000, I have Xanadu Blood at 5 stars, just a little bit over, and I have IG-2000, I think right now it's at 52 of 65, so almost 5 stars. So definitely going to get the Millennium Falcon unlocked. In order to kind of speed that up with the amount of energy I'm spending, I went through and left Houndstooth alone here at 6 stars, and am buying refreshes to try to get as close to 6 stars as possible for Xanadu Blood and IG-2000 to see if I can possibly get the Millennium Falcon to 6 stars.
Yeah, that's... they got the bundles and the crystal packs available. I really wish they'd break these things out a little more. Having... it's $60 and you get 55 shards of each ship, but with so many people having, Slave 1, 7 stars for sure, and a lot of people maxing out Houndstooth, that just cuts the value out of it. There's no temptation there to buy it at all. I mean, you sell me a pack of just IG and Xanadu Blood for half that, or maybe, 35 or so, that'd be a lot more tempting.
I mean, I think the gamble pack is 800 crystals. If you made a separate pack that's, say, 950 to 1,000 crystals, but it only had Xanadu Blood and IG-2000, I think you would still get a lot of people buying just that pack, even at that added
probably, crystal. Yeah. Now, and this is very anecdotal, but it does seem like those drop rates are favoring the newer ships.
Which is very nice. I have noticed, I've seen people buying them, and they have said the same thing, so... Not a bad thing.
Yeah, it's tempting. I think I'm going to just try to stay free to play on this one. Just using my crystals I've been saving up ever since we started speculating on this. I've been hoarding, and so I should be able to cover it that way.
You should be pretty safe with the weekly shipment. Isn't IG-2000 in there?
Yeah, but If I get close, I'll get that one, but I think I should be able to squeeze by with just some of the packs out of the shipments. Because it's still 100 crystals per shard.
I thought the weekly shipment cost was the same as far as that goes.
Yeah, it is.
So, I don't know. There's always... shouldn't be too bad for you then. I mean, it's only... Yeah. I think I would look at that. You're probably looking at what? Maybe 216... crystal purchase or 16 shard crystal purchases for that.
Yeah, it really depends on how early I want it. If it just takes off and my arena shard gets blown out and I'm down in the hundreds, I may speed the purchase up a little bit, but I don't think that's going to be the case.
Very nice indeed. So you kind of alluded to it. We went through today and out of nowhere, honestly, Monday releases usually don't happen, but the Millennium Falcon kit did get announced and dropped not into the game, but into the community with some prearranged game footage, of course, from CG right now. But it looks very good.
Yeah, as it should. I mean, with the characters it needs and being a legendary event, it better be good.
Yeah, it has very unique synergies as far as having a Rebel capital ship. So that's really only the Home 1. And Home 1, as far as meta goes, is really the only ship that's outside the meta. Every other ship, you can actually build a team currently and stay top 5, top 10 in your ship shard. And this seems like it's going to bring... Home 1 back into the meta. Going to go through. It seems to pair very well with Ghost and Phantom. I can see Wedge, Biggs, Biston's U-Wing, Cassian's U-Wing. Pretty much any Rebel ship is going to go very well. Houndstooth obviously goes well with anything. But the ability and everything is kind of like an R2, except you go through and dispel buffs on a critical hit of your enemies. So it's a very interesting kit and kind of goes through, and it's a little bit of a counter for Houndstooth. That way you can actually go through and defeat those Houndstooth that are starting to get maxed out and have people having boss completely maxed out and Zeta'd out.
Yeah, for sure. And it's got a lot of, assist synergy. It's got a unique where you can't target it if there are other rebels on the field. It's got, anti-Empire synergy. It's a lot of cool stuff. I think it's going to make an impact.
Yeah, I think it's definitely interesting to see how they're taking these synergy team ideas that they've been applying to the regular arena the last couple of years now, pretty much ever since the Sith 2 years ago in February started coming out, and they started focusing a lot more on synergy teams, and now they're starting to carry that over into ships more and more with the Geonosians, the Empire meta that's kind of having right now, the bounty hunter ships that came out right now, that just came out and all pair very well together. And now we're getting a rebel team. That way there's actually a rock, paper, scissors set up all the way up the ship arena also now. It's very cool and leads me to wonder. This is kind of wrapping up the rebels. What's next for ships? Where do you think they're going with it?
Well, just looking at what's being used and what is being farmable right now, we've got 2 Sith ships on hard nodes. So kind of just looking at just past patterns, things that and also these are ships that aren't really usable or being used very much. Sith Fighter and the Extinction Bomber. Nobody's using those things, so better make them farmable for some reason.
Yeah, they don't really have a place in any team right now. So my thought's more of a Sith capital ship coming into the game, because they have to have a place or a team for these Sith ships to go into.
Right.
So I think that's a very good possibility, and that would align up with their February Sith month that they've been doing the last couple of years. The other thought with the ship that's coming up free to play here very shortly is Jedi Knight Anakin's ETA Starfighter. That goes into the Clone Wars era, so maybe go back into the Republic era, or even a droid ship start coming out, because they did start tagging a few ships that have droids.
Yeah, people have been clamoring for a separatist capital ship for a while. Sith capital ship is needed. Yeah, I think really 2 more capital ships would really open ships up. We'd be able to do more with it with Grand Arena, setting more defenses. You could start looking at ship raids, because people would have enough teams and synergy to actually complete a raid. So I think we're slowly but surely getting there.
Yeah, I definitely see where they're leading up to, and they're definitely building up towards it. That's for sure. Anything else you want to say about Millennium Falcon's kit, or anything with the Millennium Falcon before we get into anything else?
No, it's cool. The animation looks cool. The perspective on it is kind of weird, because it's animated to look like it's flying, but you're just standing still. So it's a little odd, but what can you do?
It's the Millennium Falcon. It has to have a little quirk to it.
Yeah.
So let's start moving on to what else they announced here when they threw some of the updates into the game. We did have a shard shuffle, right?
We did, yes. Speaking of the Sith Bomber, it went free to play on the 9th, and guess where it went to?
Much rejoicing. Into the ship nodes, right?
No.
Oh, no, it didn't go within fleet?
No, it did not. I don't think. Let me double check.
No, it's hard node.
Yeah.
It's a hard node. I know it's a hard node. It's I think it's 6D. But
6C light side.
Yeah.
So another light side hard node. Come on.
Because
give someone.
it makes sense not to put the ships on the fleet hard node.
I don't know. I don't know. I've got 1,000 light side hard nodes I'm farming right now and 0 dark side. It's probably by design because I have to waste energy just to finish my dailies out.
And 3 months ago, it was exactly the opposite.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
So, I don't know.
That happened, and Juhani and Karth went into shipments. So we're one step closer to them going farmable. And as we all know, as soon as all those characters go farmable, it's countdown time.
Yeah. It's jump on those guys, start using refreshes. If you're going through, if you refresh at least once a day on those character nodes, you should be pretty well set to have a fighter's chance on unlocking or getting whatever's coming out with those characters that they're going to be needed for.
Right.
All right. Then we had our lovely Territory War poll results.
Well, before we get to that, let's...
Okay, yeah.
They did mention the Finn C-3PO change. They had tested it, and the results weren't quite to their liking, so they kind of took it back to the drawing board, and more to follow on that. And they said a road ahead is being worked on. They're still trying to finalize some other, the details on it before they get it out there. So that was just a little bit of news of what's happening in the background. Because, the Finn C-3PO allows you to solo Phase 3 of the Sith Raid, and, well, that just can't happen.
Yeah, sure it can.
It can. They just don't like it to happen.
Yeah, it very much can happen. I've seen it happen.
Right. And that's the problem.
But, yeah, I'm glad they're working on the road ahead. It just seems like we just had a road ahead, which we kind of did because they were, a month and a half, 2 months late with it originally. So,
yeah.
Hopefully we get this road ahead a little bit more in a timely manner. That way we can figure out because CG and EA's fiscal year actually ends this quarter. So it's quarter one for the majority of us in the beginning of the year. This is actually their end of the year coming up. So I'm sure they're going to have some nice little treats for us here at the end to try to finish out strong for the year.
That's right. Gotta bump them numbers.
Yeah, pretty much. So I think that was really all the updates we had, and then we went into the Territory War poll results, which, yeah, there was much rejoicing. Not really.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to it, just kind of looking at what characters are unavailable. It's not the end of the world for a lot of teams. I mean, obviously, Revan and Traya are gone, but they were kind of a recent addition anyway, so just go back a couple of months and remember what you did back then. And
well, basically the teams that got hurt were Jedi Knight Revan, because Revan and Jolie both went. Night Sisters took a big hit, losing Asajj, Night Sister Zombie, and when you're at the upper end, people like pairing General Kenobi with that team. All those are gone. First Order got a nice little beat down there. They lost their First Order Stormtrooper, which is a very good tank, especially if you have them Zeta. First Order Officer is also gone, so that really dampens that team based on what people would consider an optimal lineup as far as defense goes. Han Solo's gone, Enfys Nest is gone, Death Trooper, Stark, so that really hurts. A Trooper team, Dengar and Jango and the Bounty Hunters, so it dampened a lot of these core teams that a lot of people use.
Yeah, well, you said a couple of key things here. One is optimal. Mm-hmm. Just because it's not the best doesn't mean it's not usable. So there's going to be some substitutions you'll be able to make. And second off, there's a lot of good characters left. I mean, you still got CLS in there. You got Rogue One's pretty much untouched. Phoenix is untouched. Ewoks. You can still put together a pretty decent Mother Talzin lead Night Sister team. You've got Kylo Ren unmasked. He's one of the best leads in the game. You can still throw together some Imperial Troopers. Bastila Jedi teams are still out there. plenty of bounty hunters left. So, yeah, Thrawn, Rex, Wampa, Zeta Maul. So there's still some good teams you'll be able to throw together. I think this is going to be a little more fun than people are anticipating.
Oh, yeah, I'm holding out judgment until I actually get into the game and actually see how everything pairs up. I like those high ROI characters, the return on investment characters, so I like these optimal teams and don't really farm.
Yeah.
When I have a team, I don't farm characters 6 and 7 because I'm not going to be plugging them into a team. So this is where a lot of people are kind of cringing because they farmed up the teams they wanted to run, and now that those characters are gone, they have to figure out an alternative on who to place there that may or may not be geared up. So I see where it is. It's going to be interesting. And the other thing CG did is they did kind of listen to the community here, because originally there were going to be 28 characters were slated to be banned. They changed their mind, and instead of picking one block of 4 characters to save in their group, they picked one block of 4 characters to ban instead. So we only have 20 characters banned instead of the originally planned 28. And that was because they started looking at the character and the teams that people were banning. And if they did that, basically you would lose another 2 to 3 teams, and their optimal setups would also be banned. So they did change their mind with that, which we talked about in the podcast last week, that we felt 28 was a little high. 15 to 20 would be pushing it, but would be more reasonable.
Yeah, and again, I think it's going to turn out. And if it doesn't, this is a temporary thing. They're going to try it, and if it just sucks, they'll go back to the drawing board and hopefully find something more interesting next month.
Yeah, hopefully. So, going through with this Territory Wars grouping, with characters getting banned, I started thinking to myself, we need someone on here to be able to go through, talk to us about some suboptimal teams going against the grain with the meta that weren't affected by these bans. And my first thought was, man, Urzatron would be a great guy to get on here. He's got Lobot. He's got that beautiful ball, man. He got those Tuskens. Gear 12 with their gaffy sticks just beating on people. I was like, he would be a great guy to get on here, talk a little bit about this Territory Wars, Grand Arena, and how, just what teams can we build with these bans in place. Yeah,
we're really excited to have him on the show. We're trying something out with our format. The cool thing about podcast is, you can get together, you can have some conversations, but the downside of it is it's kind of hard to get our times synced up, and the more guests you have, the more people involved, the harder that is. And as much as we'd love to have these 3-4 hour epic shows, it just doesn't work for a lot of people. So what we're doing now is having kind of interview segments where we can just get them done, whenever it's convenient for the guest, sometime during the week, and then roll them into the show. So bad news for me is I'm not going to be in the rest of the show, but good news for me is I get to listen to a podcast.
Yeah, so without further ado, I went through and sat down with Urzatron last night and talked to him about Grand Arena and Territory Wars. So here we go. Joining me is someone whose consumption of Carillion Ale leaves him laughing at the meta. When most people are excited to build teams with Revan and Traya, he instead scrolls down that roster and selects a beautiful bald man named Lobot and chooses his droids to go with him. Welcome to the Cantina and the Panic Room, Urzatron.
Hey, Sparrow, thanks for having me. Sort of bummed that Stan can't be here, but I am glad to come to your cantina for once. It's nice to talk to a fellow cantina owner,
Yeah.
And I know you have a love and appreciation for the holotables, so we had to make this happen.
That's right. I mean, I haven't heard about your cantina, but ours has a panic room. We go through, sees what's happening in the community, and we're like, time to jump out a little bit here. get a little too wild. Your cantina gets packed. We got a little side room here.
yeah. I'll have to get over to your snack room though. I haven't been over there quite yet. But then you got a nice place here.
Yeah, thanks. Appreciate it. I mean, Stan does a great job in the snack room. I try to just kind of hose everything down every once in a while.
Yeah, man. We're running the holotables hall. It's the same kind of stuff, man.
Yeah. You just grab a hose, start spraying everybody down, shoving them out the door along the way.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's get into this. I mean, I brought you on the show because I was watching your Grand Arena battles, and man, I was like, this is some high quality content here. Going through and watching these teams and thinking, I'm like, my teams are all built based on what's happening in Arena, what I'm seeing coming up in the game, and I'm trying to scroll down to my roster in Grand Arena. I'm like, I'm missing things. And then I'm watching your stream, and I'm like, well, that's what I'm missing. I don't have these oddball teams. So let's crack open a Carillion Ale. I've got Carillion Ale shipped in for you. I've got some House Mandalorian IPA. I don't know which way you're going here. I got a Mandalorian IPA right here in front of me, so
we're gonna go Mandalorian IPA tonight. I have enough Carillion Ale in the hall, man. I knock them down like crazy on the live stream.
Yeah, so. I know. It's won a battle almost. It's intense.
Yeah, no. So the oddball teams, that's actually a product. So I like, like you and Stan, I very much have focused on Arena for the last, I don't know. I mean, I was basically at the top of Arena until Revan came out, and I didn't pay for Revan, and I kind of, took a vacation from Arena from, finishing up top. So I very much have a lot of the meta stuff, and that's why a lot of people listen to this show, obviously, because they get the end game player like meta advice. But part of my path into becoming a game changer was to do things like Lobot versus the meta, and I did like Scoundrels versus the meta, and Tuskens and stuff like that. And that allowed me to really fill out the bottom part of my roster with these weird, oddball, fun things that no one is really delving into but a handful of people.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely enjoy it. I got more into the bounty hunters recently. As soon as Boss came out, I went all in on these bounty hunters, and I'm really excited to actually get into the second half of these bounty hunters, Embo and Aura Singh and Django, and get them actually. And I have Zam at gear 11, but get Zam up to gear 12 and actually run her probably as a lead then.
Yes, I'm running her at lead too.
Oh, you are?
Fantastic. Yes, thermal build, man. It is awesome.
I don't know if I want to build her up or Aura Singh. Aura Singh's the other one I'm kind of... it's an intriguing leadership there.
Yes, and here's what I'll say about Aura Lead. I know we're kind of just going after it right now.
Yeah.
Aura Lead is interesting because it's Scoundrels, not just bounty hunters. So you can use her with the vets, and that's what's super cool about Aura Lead. So I think if you really wanted to stretch things out, you could put Aura with some Scoundrels that don't really have homes. Guys like the vets, like Gamu, the random stuff that just is Scoundrel based.
Hey, I could really throw them off and put Vandor Chewbacca in there in L3.
Yeah,
it's an Aura Lead.
Yeah,
man,
get some deep. Yeah, and I think she gives like a 30% offensive bonus to you put that with the vets or something. That's really strong offense. It's really good. I've always felt the vets are underrated, and they just never really had a place, and I think they can fit with Aura pretty good.
I think the vets really ran into more of a place where people spite them.
Yes.
Because of the panic farm. It has nothing to do with their kits. It's that they were forced to farm them. They were both on 16 energy nodes, and all those 16 energy nodes are just, to me, they're absolutely painful. Anytime I see a 16 energy Cantina node, I cringe, and I'm like, it feels like the drop rates are horrible. It takes forever, and it's just a huge grind.
Yeah. I think the last 16 energy I did was a Sith Trooper, and man, that was just brutal as all hell. It just took forever.
Yeah, I'm not a... Yeah, they're one of the worst farms, right up there. Actually, I think I dislike the 16 energy Cantina nodes more than actually hard node farming. Hard node farms, I don't know. I know what I'm getting. It seems like they're very consistent, and then I go through and turn around, and a 16 energy node just never seems like the drop rates, and actually seems like they take longer. I don't know if that's true or not. That's my feeling of it.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. The last, and then I did Nest out of ships, and that felt like a long time. I don't know. That felt like a long time. That was the last one that really stuck in my mind, those two that I just mentioned. So,
yeah.
But yeah, Cantina 16 energy, very rough. And then when you have guys like Gar Saxon and ISC, it's like those are the stragglers that I have yet to finish up. I think Gar's done, ISC isn't, but that's 16 energy. You're just like, what am I doing?
That seems like a perfect team that you would be into. A Gar Saxon lead with ISC, having the counterattacks.
Yeah, I've tried it. I've played with it. It's fun. It's cool. Does some neat things.
Might have tried that out.
Yeah, a few times.
So we're getting into these like creative teams, and so wanted to go through, try to steer it back a little bit. I mean, we're going down this rabbit hole. I know it tends to happen. I do enjoy this, but we're just talking about exactly what I want to go over. Is that CG seems to be very keen on making it very uncomfortable for players right now these days. Every time you turn around Grand Arena, I mean, every bracket, it seems like, no matter where you're at, it seems like you always feel like you're missing one or two teams. Mm-hmm. You're always stretching for that last one or two teams. The 3v3, the comps are completely different, having everybody scratch their heads on who to put with who. Do you need a tank? Do you not? Who's going to protect who? And then we have the new territory wars with them banning characters, and the characters that they banned are basically essential characters that are not so much needed, but they're crucial parts of the current territory wars meta, whether it's defense or offense. Yeah. Every single character was a key component for every single team, so that really hurts. It just seems like they're trying to build deeper rosters, and I'm like, man, Urz has this down packed. I mean, he doesn't have to worry about that. He goes through it. He's like, well, I got that team, but, you know, I'll just plug in my Tuscans here, and that'll take care of that. Perfect 3v3 team. I mean, there's only 3 Tuscans. That makes it a perfect team, right?
Yeah. I have to tell you, when 3v3 came out and I was able to just plug the Tuscans in, that just made my whole existence in this life of this game. It just was the best feeling ever. So, no, I'm 3v3 was amazing. How did you feel about it? Like,
I really enjoyed it just because it made me. I wish it wasn't over the holidays because I wanted more time, and I was running around with family and everything, so I didn't have as much time as I wanted to sit down and actually figure out teams. So I kind of muddled my way through Grand Arena. I mean, I was able to win twice, 2-1, ran into those glorious Revan team, so that always makes everything a lot more difficult. But yeah, I enjoy it. I like the theory crafting behind it and everything also. Yeah. And it just leads me to wonder, I mean, what are you paying CG to be able to get them to set up these things where they're like trying to poke and prod the community, try to get these off-meta teams? And I'm like, it seems to only be going after one guy here.
Well, I will say that I have a bit of an easier road to the Grand Arena finals than you. You're obviously in a much higher GP bracket than me. Have you crossed over 4 million yet?
Yeah, I just did that this week. I went through and with them announcing the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah,
I'm right there where I'm just a handful of shards away from getting the ships needed to 5 stars. So at the very least, I'll get Millennium Falcon done at 5 stars. And when you have Raid Han and Chewbacca both Gear 12 with Gear 12 plus pieces on them with Zetas, I'm like, yeah, there's no... I don't stand a chance of staying under 4 million GP anymore. I'm just going to bite the bullet and go for it.
Just go in, yeah. Yeah, so I just crested 3.1. I want to say I'm right around 3.1, and I never did the TW, or I'm sorry, the TB inflate the GP thing. I never did that, and I didn't. I've always sucked at ships, so I don't have those capital ship GP inflating me as well. So I have a much easier road, and that's why I'm able to run things like the Tuscans out there in Lobot. It's because just it's so wide open, right around 3 million GP, and it's just it makes for true happiness and enjoyment, man. For just to know that, okay, the guy I'm going against he's got a decent roster, but he's not right full on hardcore gamer of this game and running god mods or anything. So you do have a chance to play around the AI a bit and use fun teams. So that's
Yeah, I went through with being just TV happening, and I like the collection. I like completing things, and I just got in the habit of taking characters level 85, gear 7, so I could throw mods on them and do everything, which bumped up my GP, but I'll deal with it. It'll go through. I've been focusing on specific teams, so that's helping me, but yeah, I don't have these miscellaneous teams that are like gear 10, gear 11 that I can kind of mishmash together. I have my gear 12 teams, and that's it, and then I run out of them. And what I've run into problems with Grand Arena is like I mess up one team and I'm like, this I'm not going to be able to clear now. This is going to get real ugly real quick here. I was been trying to go through and like record battles and actually put some of these battles up on YouTube for people, and I'm like, I hit record. Yep, it's me losing a lot. It's like going through. I was like, I recorded me getting C-3PO. Yep, went through C-3PO with a wicket lead up until 5 stars.
Wow.
Had no idea it happened until I lost one. I'm like, wait. My Zeta Chirpa is not in the leadership.
There you go.
Yeah, I bet that'll help, right?
That might impact things a little bit.
Yeah, that'll help out a little bit. So, yeah, I have a feeling when I start putting recordings out of my battles, it's going to be a lot of what not to do. This is not how you go through and get C-3PO, because you actually want a leadership ability in there.
Might help.
Might help a little bit, But
well, I would just say that's kind of like a rite of passage of YouTube, putting content out there. You get to have a lot of people tell you how bad you are at the game.
Yeah, you get that a lot live in Grand Arena. You get deep in the Krillian Ale, and then you go at the very end, when you're deep in the Krillian Ale, is when you go to ships, and you're like, I don't know ships, guys, and you go into it, and you get a little button happy. And everybody's like, hey, do this, and you're like, okay, and you hit a button and goes, oh, I should have hit the other one, shouldn't I, guys? I just start hitting buttons, It'll work out eventually.
That's a good trick.
That's a good trick. Attack. Yeah. I shot someone. All right.
Yeah. So, I think it's just very easy once you have a few Krillians for you to just be a terrible shit player. And people go, he's just being Urz. He's fine. Whatever.
Yeah. That's exactly right. But you're going through. It's like we've gone through. You definitely seems. So, my impression is you like 3v3 Grand Arena over the 5v5.
Yeah, I like anything that you're able to hide teams. So if we're doing 5v5, I want to see 2 back zones at least, where you can hide stuff back there. When it was just the full on view, I did not like that as much. But 3v3 was the best. I'd love to see like just even larger zones for 3v3, so you're having to really break out some goofy stuff and really test the depth of your roster and like the depth of your knowledge in the game, if you can remember what everybody's ability does. I mean, where are we at? 180 characters? Is that what it is? 160?
I think we're just shy of 170 right now.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's not including ships. That's just characters. I think characters were at like 168, 170 range. If you add ships and everything, we're up over 200 probably.
Yeah.
So, I agree. I look at a lot of characters. Luckily, the bracket I'm in, people go through and what you think they're going to put out is exactly what they're going to put out. So, on defense, so I'm like, all right, well, I know how to beat it and everything. It's only when you get into these oddball teams that have, like, Night Sisters that have Nest or General Kenobi, you're like, I'm going to go through and put clone or troopers up against them, and you go through and no, General Kenobi does not allow for that, and then you get run over, and you're like, well, that went downhill quick. But what are your thoughts as far as other things they're going to be adding into Grand Arena? Do you think those 3 categories that they already showed us, or play styles that they showed us, is going to be it, or are you expecting something else?
I could see them going with like a quad type system. I think Stan mentioned it like last episode with you guys of them going to 6. I think 6, you have a lot of ways that could break the game. I was driving in my car listening to you guys. I'm like, nah, 6 is crazy, man. 6v6 would be nuts.
I was thinking the double leaders.
Double leaders, yeah.
Double leaders. It's already in the game because we do it for light side and dark side nodes already. So it's already system's already in the game.
Yeah, I just there's got to be like I guess it would be an interesting experiment. Just to see what people would come up with and see what would totally be busted. But
I don't see what's the harm in it. You go through and try it out. It's a week. It's a week. Yeah. Everybody gets to experiment with it. At the very worst, it doesn't work, and you give everybody first place rewards and go, sorry, we tried something new. That's the worst that happens.
Maybe they could do. I was trying to think of like a way of really forcing like mixed match teams where you can't have like maybe more than one or two of every faction. I don't know how they'd program that. Maybe just something weird like that where it's just like limiting the amount of synergy you can put together. I don't know. This would drive people nuts, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe the quads. That would be a cool spin on it. And then like you see, it's tough to go more ships because there's not enough ships in the game right now. So
yeah, I mean that's the hard thing with ships. I want more ships as far as having a second one to kind of make people dive into it a little bit more. But right now we just don't have enough farmable ships. But we are getting there. I think it's getting really close.
Yeah. Maybe they could do some sort of bonuses for efficiency or some sort of maybe that would be counterproductive. Or maybe it's like a bonus for clearing out a zone that you can apply on another zone. They could do stuff like that. But I don't know. If they just keep it the way it is, 5v5, 3v3 with the 2 back hidden zones, I'm going to be a happy guy because this is my favorite mode in the game in 3 years. So
yeah,
I'm totally.
I'm right there with
this
you.
Game.
I'm right there with you. Having a very highly competitive arena goes through, and PvP was never my favorite because of that. I kind of slogged through to try to make sure I get top 20 to at least get a steady crystal flow going. Mm-hmm. But I know I can't compete with guys that are in basically the top 5 guilds. When you go through and have a top 10 of your arenas, all top 10 guild, top 5 guilds, I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to be able to compete with that. But getting matched up in my same galactic power ranking makes it a lot more appealing to me. As far as going through, being able to attack, I'm fighting people with rosters. Although I am getting rather shamed as far as mods go.
Yeah, this is that I will agree with you there. This has bared out those flaws in my mod game. Fortunately, I think I've only come across 2 guys since GA started that have had the mod advantage on me. So, but it has made me look at my mods and go, I really need to level some of this stuff up, and I'm sitting on almost 200 million credits. It's like, what am I holding this stuff for?
Yeah, what are you holding them up for? Because you aren't leveling up characters level 85.
Right.
Like I go through and get 20 mil, and I'm twitching. I'm like going through buying mods. I got up to 40 million. I'm back down to 15 million right now from leveling mods and buying anything that had speed secondaries. I'm like, I'm just gonna upgrade it, try to get something here.
Yeah. Then I get in this stupid game where I'm like, I've got slicing materials. And I'm like, I could just slice this and maybe it rolls to like a 13 speed. I'm like, what am I doing burning slicing materials in these second-rate mods?
You got to do it now. You got to do it with these teams. They're forcing you to. But let's head over and think a little bit more about territory wars now.
Yes. You gave me some homework before we
I gave you a little bit of homework, but before we get to there, I want to go through and get your thoughts on territory wars. I know you went through and mentioned that you like going up against characters, but it's hard to go through and actually. It depends on the guild. You go through and you get really into territory wars, and all of a sudden your guild gets stalled out on a zone, and it just makes everything painful for you. But what do you like? Do you like that old system of like buffing factions? Did you like the buffing characters, and how do you feel about these banning characters?
So I think they really did good with the whole Mace and General Grievous stuff, where they got massive buffs and they were, it was just kind of turned it upside down on its head, and suddenly the Triumvirate was getting smoked, and that was very fun to me. I thought that was a good way of doing it. But I will say I'm definitely in the minority here that believe that the banning of characters is still going to be fun. I'm not worried about it. I mean, even with my not as focused roster, I'd rather have fun and something to think about than. Here's my problem with Territory Wars is that I do not like having to wait for a zone to clear. I don't want to go burn a team just for the sake of burning a team, and then when you're stretching that out over 24 hours, and you and me both work and have full-time jobs, and the whole thing going on, it's like to try and manage that and to be online when a zone clears, and then do I have something I can contribute to this zone? That is what I don't like about Territory Wars. So that is why just GA is the best thing for me. I know we're talking about TW here, but so I'm okay with them shaking it up and removing characters. As long as it makes it more fun and more engaging, then I'm good with it. What about you?
Yeah, I'm keeping an open mind for the banning of the characters. I prefer the buffing of characters. I think right now you're seeing a lot of negative feedback from it because the guilds that are so focused on Territory Wars, and we were talking about this earlier, they went through and have such a focused roster, and this community handles change so well also. So you go through and tell them, hey, that one team that you think you've basically perfected, you went through and have those mods to a T exactly how you want, turn order exactly how you want. Well, we're going to take that character out, try to figure it out. And people are losing their minds over it because of that. I think that's more the negative feedback is that we're getting is not so much it's going to mix it up and make it less enjoyable or anything. It's people going through it, messing up what they're used to, number one. Right. And I'm not on that side. I'm not a big fan of banning characters because if I'm looking at that banned character list, 16 of the 40 characters I have at Gear 12 are all banned. And I'm like, I've invested a lot of time into these very good characters, and now I can't use them for a game mode. That's my negative feedback about that. It's not so much I think it's going to be fun. I just want to use the characters that I've invested heavily in.
Right.
But
there is something to be said about, playing the game at the most optimal level and focusing on the things that you should be focusing on. And CG just throws a wrench in it. They're like, nah, bro, you're not going to be using that this time. Let's see what else you got. I get it, right? But at the same time, I can't help but just as the guy that focused on random crap, it's like, ha ha. It's Nelson Muntz pointing.
Yeah, take that.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you, Chewie.
Doing that, but it kind of got me also thinking about other ways. Like you would like to see it mixed up for Territory Wars because they did say they're going to make Territory Wars a little bit more fun, a little bit more loose than it has been in the past. But they said that before when they announced Territory Wars, that it's a setup so we can change the bonuses, add platoons to it was mentioned originally.
Ugh.
Yeah, platoons it's pretty much like banning characters to me.
Yeah.
But maybe we saw a little bit of a preview of it in Grand Arena. What if they do 3v3 for the guild?
3v3? I'd be all right with that.
Yeah.
I think it would go faster because you're not having to, if the zone amounts stay the same, but it's just 3v3. And
I bet the zone amounts would have to go up also. But
yeah. Well,
yeah, it'd still be interesting having that many. It would mix it up again. It'd get a little bit more involved and everything. Do you see any other ways they would possibly mix it up?
I'm trying to think. There is ships in the back zones. Could they do anything with ships? I don't know. No. Maybe they change the amount of ships required, or maybe they shrink it down to just three size fleets, and then there's more zones for ships. I don't know.
Yeah, I've always wanted with Territory Wars to make it a little bit more kind of more strategy based by actually not knowing where those fleet zones would be.
Oh yeah, that would be good.
Like if you went through as a guild leader, was able to go through, or your officers were able to select, hey, we want ships here, ships, and
totally
then characters, and go through and real mess with people and like where they find their ships. I think that would be interesting.
That. Yeah, no, it's like Jeopardy, right? It's like the Daily Double. You're looking for the daily.
Yeah, exactly.
Where's that ship zone?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think that would be amazing. Or you go through and a specific zone has bonuses to it. Would go through it. I mean, and then you go through and select what zone. It's like, hey, you can add a bonus to one zone and then click on it. So I think there's a lot of ways they could do that. I'm hoping and really curious to see what other ways they go through and do this. I think the banning of the characters were mainly because they were on break, and this was kind of the simplest thing as far as programming wise to actually just set this up.
Yeah, that's a great. I think you made a great point there with the given a bump per zone. They could do like some sort of, maybe you do platoons in one zone, and then that zone gets and maybe each zone has a different ability or something. Where like it's like an ion cannon in one zone, and like it does some effect for the board for any battles happening in that zone.
Yeah,
that'd be kind of cool. I mean, they could incorporate a little bit of TB there into TW. I don't know, something like that. But they don't have to do a full on, like you said, platoon, just one platoon.
Either that or just make it simple. Say, hey, this zone gets an added 10% health on your characters. This one gets 10% protection. This one has plus 10% offense or something like that. Just a simple, straight bonus based on what you put in there.
Yep.
Because imagine they put something that's an added 10 to 15% on a team, health-wise. And then, I mean, as a Territory Wars guy, or Grand Arena guy also, I would go through and look at that zone and be like, man, if I can load up GK Xeris team...
Yeah.
And put them in there, try to go through and burn through that. You're going to have to get a team with health immunity, and to be able to blast through that team, you aren't going to be able to go through that team anymore with straight DPS like the game has evolved to.
Yeah.
So it would mix up the strategies and bring back some of these older teams by just having those slight little bumps, or trying to get through a first order team with an added 10-15% health, or bounty hunter team too. They could get real ugly real quick.
I think they do stuff like everybody in this zone gets like critical avoidance or something plus 30%. Like that would be super interesting. Yeah, I'm with you, man. That's cool.
Yeah, it's something simple. It's not out there as far as going through. It's not asking a lot for them to program or anything. It seems like simple enough to be able to do. So we went over like what we're looking at: Grand Arena, Territory Wars. We mentioned the Territory War bans. So I asked you to come up with what are like two teams that would work very well now that a lot of those characters are banned. Like First Order's kind of a mess. Jedi's somewhat of a mess. Troopers are definitely a mess as far as who got banned. Night Sisters kind of got
hit pretty rough.
Hit pretty rough losing Zombie. And so did
Massage.
Yeah, losing Asajj and General Kenobi, or not General Kenobi's out there, but Night Sister, Zombie. I like using General Kenobi with Night Sisters, so those three characters right out of that Night Sister team, I like using.
So I looked at the triumvirate and I said, okay, that's pretty much gone. You got Scion here, but Nihilus and Traya are gone.
Yep.
So I got a really wild thing here for you.
All right.
And this could be hot garbage, but I got two versions of it, right? Okay. I got a defensive version and I got an offensive version. So we are talking a Zeta Savage lead with Dark Basti. So the lead is going to be Savage, so he's going to apply a bunch of defense. You've got Dark Basti providing the lead even more defense. He's going to be doing the passive cleansing. And the defensive version has Scion, Sith Trooper, and then it runs a Zeta Barris. So you've got cleansing with Barris, you've got cleansing with Savage, you've got a ton of defense, and then you've got Scion just basically going into Super Saiyan mode, offing people. So that would be the defensive version, and it'll almost be a timeout team. Without Nihilus,
That and that team, you have bouncing taunts between Sith Trooper and Scion.
Yep.
Which is going to be very difficult if people aren't realizing what the leadership ability and what some of these Zetas do. They could be going in there and not realizing how to get through that team and trying to getting around the taunts that they need to cleanse to get pain off. They also need a dispel to go through and get rid of Sith Trooper's taunt. Yeah, I could see that team being very difficult, and at the very worst, if they do get through it, I think what I would rate an A team. They would have to go through and actually use a meta team to be able to get through that, rather than having that B or C squad to actually get around there.
Yeah, and I will tell you, every time I see Zeta Savage, I'm like, he's just one of those guys where I'm like, I know he doesn't suck, but he's not the best, but you got to bring some DPS, because if you don't bring enough, he will just sit around and he'll just start, cleansing. And
he is very much like Dengar on a Sith team. He's always going to be the last one standing, and then you get down to the end, and you just hope you have one. Like, if I'm running
the right
Rebels,
combination of moves or DPS to get him down.
Yeah, it's like usually I would go through and have like Raid Han or something, and all of a sudden Raid Han would be out, and I get down and it's just Savage, and I'm like,
good luck.
Yeah, well, I'm going to hit auto and hope for the best here. Hopefully I'm able to get through.
Is there any worse feeling than having like a 4-on-1 on Savage's left, and you just don't have enough DPS, and you're just watching it on auto, and you're just The
Savage or the Kylos. It's like 5-on-2 with the two Kylo Rens, and you're like, well, I'm going to hit auto. Hopefully we're able to get through something here.
Yep.
They're teams like that. So what's the offensive version of that?
So offensive version would just pull out Zeta Barris and go full-on Sith. So Zeta Savage lead, Dark Basti, Scion Trooper, and then for Zeris, you're going to put in Sid and just have the Expose there. So obviously you'd only want to run Expose on offense, so you could hit the proc all with Exposes. So it's just a little bit more of an offensive build, and maybe the Zeta Barris version would work as well on offense. But a lot of people had Sid leveled up early on, and from the tank raid, from those tank raid teams. So
you could the P2 there. Teams with Vader and everything. I mean, other thought as far as going through, that would be one of those annoying teams with actually bringing out Count Dooku, putting Dooku in there with Savage and Zeris and Scion. And then,
Dooku. Yeah, I think. He could work perfectly in that Sid slot. I think I just prefer Sid for the Exposes. But he could totally work. And
Dooku is just one of those characters, just because that increased dodge chance on his leadership ability. It's more of an annoyance than anything else. It's like, you can go up against him, just try to get through if you can hit him.
Yeah, and it's like you forget how annoying that dodge is. And you're probably not using your R2 on a dodge team, right? Like, it's pretty. You're probably not using that, or you're probably using R2 elsewhere. JTR probably.
Oh yeah, JTR, CLS team or something.
Yeah.
There's so many places R2 goes. Lobot team.
Lobot team.
Yeah.
You better believe
he goes through. He's the damage dealer in that team.
Yeah. Does a lot of work.
Yeah, burning people out.
Yep.
So that seems definitely like two very good teams as far as Sith goes. I
got one more for you.
Oh, you got one more?
Sith.
All right.
This is a team that I ran on. Well, I ran a version of this team, and I love it against Sith and against Rebels. And it's a Rex lead with Visas, Wampa, any taunting tank. I use Gamorrean Guard, so Gamu mostly, and then anybody with a call to assist.
Well, Guard's good in there. Get some more dots there too. So,
dots, and then Visas assists him, and then you have the tenacity up from Rex, and Visas cleansing herself. So she's constantly assisting. It works wonderfully against Sith team. But then you have Wampa there as well, because it works pretty well against Rebels. I mean, Wampa's fantastic against Rebels. So, and then you have the taunting tank, Gamu in this case, just for the assist from Visas from the counterattacking and then the dots. And then he's super strong in terms of his max health pool. And then the last slot is just anybody that can do an assist. So then you have Visas and then you can hopefully call Wampa or call Gamu. I mean, it's great. It's a fun little team. I ran a similar version of this against an Empire team on one of my recent live streams, and the crowd just freaking loved it, man. They were just screaming.
Yeah, I'd be curious to see that team or watch one of your live streams go up against Sith with that team, just to see Visas constantly counterattack and start knocking out the Sith. Man.
I just think they nailed her art style, and she's just a cool character. I don't know. She's fantastic.
Yeah. They need the KOTOR tag on her.
Yeah, they do. Yeah,
there's a lot of characters I feel like they need to go through and fix some of the tags now that they went through. Because, yeah, we talked about it on Sam and I on the podcast about going through with the Old Republic characters on how they went through and said, oh, these are only for this, and they had to be part of the Old Republic, and now we're going through turning around with these most recent characters that aren't part of the Old Republic and getting the KOTOR tags, which is really odd to me.
Yeah.
HK needs one too.
Yeah, when they announced the requirements for Revan, I was like, you guys are going to give Visas the Old Republic tag, right? Nope.
Yeah, nope.
Nope. We're not making it that easy.
Yeah, seriously, I wish. So we had that. Let me see what else I have here for you, because I got some other going through. I wanted to know what your favorite 3v3 teams are. Not the best teams. What are your most favorite ones to run?
Oh man, so it's got to be Tuskens, right? Like I love my Tuskens.
Sticks. You
go the gaffy sticks.
Yeah, you get those gaffy sticks out. They just.
I got an intro I run for them, and like everybody gets fired up, and it's just a good time. Those guys are funny. Second favorite 3v3 team. I would say Lobot, but I'm not sure who I'd put him with. I don't know. I've got my fan favorites. I don't know. What do you like for 3v3?
3v3, I mean, that second team, I actually like running Rex, Vader, and Wampa.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, I mean, Vader I don't think really is needed in there, but just having Wampa in any of those 3v3 teams is so much fun to run. You go through and he just
Womping guys.
Womping people.
Womp.
Womp. Womp.
You know what's a cool one that I liked was it's Kira lead, and your Kira can be garbage for this, by the way, and Hermit Yoda and Nest. Kira dies immediately, and if you have your Hermit Yoda Zeta, he may even put Master's Training on Nest, and you don't have to worry about it, but even if you have your Zeta, he'll immediately put it back on Nest, and she just kind of goes to town. So I think that's a fun, low effort team to put forward.
Yeah.
Because most people have their Nest already ready to go, and then Hermit, you're able to break up your Jedi quite a bit in 3v3. So I like that team. I think it's cool, and you don't have to.
I did a modified version, or actually I might have tried that the last 3v3 matchup I did. I put them on defense though, just because that's one of those annoying teams that you go through, and that's going to be a pain to get through.
Yep. I put it on defense last the 3v3 tournament, and it held two or three times, I want to say. So, yeah, it definitely served its purpose.
Yeah, definitely. And then you go through, try to build up turn meter, and they have to waste a better team than they thought. So that's always good. So let's start wrapping this up. I want to go through a little bit rapid fire here. 2 characters you would like to see introduced into the game this year.
Okay, so I got 3 for you, and 2 of them are ships.
All right. Oh, the non-ship guys pulling out the ships. I like this.
So I'm going to say for characters, I'm going to say Bausch Leia, or the bounty hunter Leia from Return of the Jedi.
Okay.
Always been a favorite armor of mine in Star Wars. We went to they had an art exhibit here in Denver, and I got to see all the armors up close, and I saw her armor, and I was like, damn, that is an awesome looking piece of stuff. So it is just.
I like seeing that Easter egg. Well, not so much Easter egg, but having that armor in Solo.
Yeah. Or that was Lando's armor in Solo.
Yes.
I'm talking about Leia's. But
that's right.
It was nice.
I always think of that.
No, I like Lando's too. Lando's is fantastic as well. But Leia's armor. So I'd like to see Bausch Leia, and maybe they give her some sort of thermal build, and then she's got some like staff mechanics for basic or something. I don't know. I think it would be fantastic to make her a scoundrel. So that version of Leia, I'd like to see. And then for ships, favorite ship in Star Wars is probably the B-Wing. It's totally just obviously Millennium Falcon's the best ship in Star Wars. But if we're talking about just out of all the Rebel ships, I always thought the B-Wing was super cool and underrated. So I'd like to see that. But of course, with things like B-Wing and, TIE Advanced TIE Interceptors and TIE Bombers, like you have to have the corresponding pilots with all those things. That's how they made ships. So I don't know how they're going to do that.
Yeah, they just have to throw a Rebel.
Right.
Hey, Rebel, they flew this ship, I swear.
Yeah.
In this obscure scene, see, that's what they said.
Well, if Stark can make it into the game, I'm sure they can find some random B-Wing pilot.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. And then the other ship I like, that it's the Outrider. Did you ever play Shadows of the Empire? Or not Shadows of the Empire. Was it Shadows of the Empire? I'm getting my lore confused.
Yeah, I have not.
So Shadows of the Empire was the Outrider was like Dash Rendar's ship, I want to say.
Okay.
And it's a YT 2400. It's the same company that makes the Millennium Falcon, Carillion Space Designs or something.
Yeah.
I can't remember. It's the same company that makes the Millennium Falcon. It looks, the art style, it's Ralph McQuarrie, who's the guy who designed the Millennium Falcon, the original artist from the original trilogy. He designed the ship, the YT 2400. It looks very similar to the Falcon, and I always thought it just looked super cool. They ended up putting it back in the prequels as an Easter egg. I want to say when they're pulling up to Mos Eisley in the special editions. No, it was in a New Hope special edition. They put it in there, so it was one of the original designs from Ralph McQuarrie. So that's an awesome looking ship. It's a freighter. It's just totally sweet.
I find this interesting that I go through and mention this to you, and the characters that I'm hoping for the game would actually help your man Lobot out a lot more.
Well, let's just get him some Zetas first. Well, who you got for Lo? What do you want to see?
Droideka?
Droideka, yeah.
I want to see a
I'm into
Droideka.
that.
And then, I don't know, the other one, it's kind of... it could get a little shaky for Lobot without a Zeta. Would be Doc Afra and the Murderbot.
Dr. Afra, yeah. Can you imagine Lo running those Murderbots?
Yeah, 000? Oh,
yeah.
Man. That's what I said. I was like, I'm feeling like Doc Afra may have a better leader than Lo, which kind of gets a little, I don't know how you would feel about that, but...
But Doc Afra looks good, though, you know?
Yeah, but you could
go
go through.
Weakness.
you would have Doc Afra and Lobot back-to-back running droids.
Oh, man. I mean, the sex appeal on those droid teams is just off the charts.
Yeah. Can't get... You have beautiful bald man, and then... I don't know where you go Doc Afra. Whew.
Oh, Doc Afra, man. She's looking good.
The beautiful lady.
Weren't her and Vader romantically entangled, or did I just hear that wrong?
I have no idea. I have to read those comics more. I know they're in there, and I saw Doc Afra, and I saw 000 and the Murderbots, and I'm like... Well, anything called Murderbots, and then Doc Afra looks like that. Yep, I'm sold for the game.
Yeah. You know, it makes me... They put her in that Force Arena, which I guess that closed down recently.
Yeah.
And the art style was just top notch. Like, they made her look great, and why can't we get stuff like that? Why can't
that game kind of made me believe that I could see Doc Afra in this game, and it would be... I think it would be so much fun. It'd bring up the droids back up. Yeah. With a lot of those characters, and then ship I want to see. You went B-Wing. The main ship that is missing now that Millennium Falcon's coming into the game is the Y-Wing. That's the most iconic ship that isn't in the game now. Yeah,
that's probably it, right?
Or at least in my opinion, because I mean, you have all the TIE fighters.
Original trilogy.
Yeah,
original trilogy. It's a beautiful ship too.
Yeah,
it just looks the part.
Yeah, it's absolutely amazing. And then 2 reworked characters you would like to see. I have a feeling I know one.
Oh, you know one. It's Lobot.
I know
Give my man some Zetas. He's always been interesting. He's a better leader than HK. You heard it. I'm telling you guys. Yeah. These guys coming after me, telling me, you're crazy. It's like, you're crazy. AoE days, the amount of days in this game just wrecks HK. It's not good anymore, guys.
Yeah. Go through and maybe a unique or 2? 3?
Yeah, 3. 4?
Yeah, why not? Revan has 4, right? Why can't Lo?
Yeah. So Lobot, definitely number 1. And let's go reworked character. Without being too obvious here, let's go Gamu. Let's get Gamu some Deathmark. He was the original Deathmark man. Let's do it.
Yeah, I like
what
that.
What do you think for reworks?
I would really like to see HK get a rework.
Yeah,
that would be my big one because I like HK. They changed its stance too.
I saw that.
I just want some droid viability, which would be really nice. And then, one other character. I'm trying to think of other characters that I would actually go through and do. I need to go through and get these secondary farms. I went Phoenix, and that ended up being kind of meta ships, which I don't know if that's actually going against the meta because it was at the time, and then all of a sudden their ships became meta, and I'm like, well, that kind of worked out for me.
Yeah, I got a lot of people telling me you gotta get your Ghost and Phantom up. I'm like, what? These are good now?
Yeah, they're a good combo, and I was kind of surprised by that. And I'm like, wait, I have them at gear 12. Oh, okay. Well, I didn't mean to do that. I thought it was just building an oddball team, but all right. Well, that worked out.
Isn't that I have to say, just a side note, not to derail this. Having the oddball thing that becomes meta is like the best feeling ever. Like, I remember when Veers got his Zeta and like the troopers were born overnight. I just Zeta'd my Veers and it was like I was like one of the only people that had it, and it was like the best thing ever. So.
Oh yeah, I did that, and I'm like, I saw Bosk, and after Force Arena and seeing some of the lore with Bosk, I was like, man, I really like Bosk. I'm gonna go like farm really hard on him, go through, build up the bounty hunters for that, and then Chewbacca came out, and I'm like, well,
yes,
that worked out nice for me. That was completely unintentional, but let me look through my roster here real quick. I'm just looking at the bottom as far as who I'd like to. You know who I would like to see get a rework? The clones.
Yeah,
the clones. I'm just going to put it in general because I could see regular clone trooper fits very well as far as he should just be renamed Heavy.
Yeah.
And then add Wolfie or anything. That faction seems like needs a lot of help, and I don't have them farmed up, but I would like to, especially if they get a rework. They have so much potential.
Yeah, you know what I'd like to see? They speculated this on Reddit a while ago, but or like an Order 66 like Jedi countered version of the clones. Yeah. Maybe they get a rework that makes them a Jedi counter. That would be cool.
I don't even need them to be a Jedi counter. Just going
just
through.
Good.
Yeah, just good in general. Like, I think that the Clone Wars era seems very lacking.
It does.
I mean, droids, separatists, clones, even the Jedi within there, they could do a lot with there and be, I think, a lot of fun. But yeah, I'm going to go clones.
Yeah, I'm trying to even think of all the Galactic Republic stuff. Like, what's that whole era? The clones. The separatists are garbage. Like,
I mean, the only one that's kind of okay is like when you turn into.
Sisters is good. That's from the Clone Wars.
Yes, Night Sisters are good, and that was kind of a byproduct. Yeah, I think that's what I would go with. I mean, because the only reason anybody's good in there is because they're good in other teams. Is Dooku, it's because he gets put on a Sith team, but that's it. So yeah, I'm gonna.
Yeah.
Sounds solid choice.
You.
Solid choice.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. And I think a lot of people have it because they were such a crucial part of the tank raid. So yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, the Princess Zodi team, but I don't even think like going through adding Wolfie and everything. I think you add characters and rework them. That way you actually make people farm something new to build up that clone team from where they're currently standing with them, or add Zetas. That way they have to reinvest, but. That could be a fun team to get reworked.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Good stuff, man. Yeah. This was fun.
Yeah,
a lot of fun.
We'll definitely have to get you back on here, and we'll come up with some more oddball teams and
yep.
do stuff like that. I'll have to take a little bit better notes because I need these teams, and I'm really close to actually getting to a point. I'm a couple characters away from finishing up my Scoundrels, and then I'm open as far as what I can actually farm, which is a great feeling for me.
It's been a while since we've had that feeling, hasn't it? I mean, it went from bounty hunters to Old Republic to Ewoks to back to Old Republic for me. And now they're done, and I'm kind of like, okay, now I can.
No, you're going to be heading back to Old Republic here very shortly.
yes, I am. Thank you for reminding me.
Yeah, middle of February. I hate to burst your bubble, but you have at least farming shards. Farming shards isn't the same as gear, so.
How's your Canderous, Urza?
Yeah. Build a team with Canderous, Karth.
Yeah.
So
I like Karth.
I've had people suggest Karth to me, so. But before we get down that rabbit hole, I mean, we've gone down plenty of rabbit holes. It's been a great time. Before we get out of here, why don't you remind the people where they can find you, and then we'll wrap everything up. I will smash this light out, and we will get out of here.
Okay. Thank you for having me, Sparrow and Stan. I know you're not here, but we're thinking about you, buddy. Urza's Holotable Hall. Just put that into your Google search, and that should hopefully take you to my channel. I do a few different web series, Lobot versus the Meta, Tuscan versus the Meta, that sort of thing. But main thing I'm doing now is Grand Arena streams where I use my fun teams to beat other lesser non-meta teams. And it's super fun because it's live, and we have a few drinks, and everybody comes into the hall. We love some Blue Twi'leks and the Carillion Ale. It's just a really fun time. So Urza's Holotable Hall.
It is amazing where the Carillion Ale flows.
Oh, you better believe.
Oh, I believe you get whiskey from somewhere, right?
Mandalorian whiskey. We have it on
whiskey,
tap.
that's right.
And the Bantha Blaster and Baga Naga. Baga Naga was served on Jabba's barge. It was what our R2 was serving. Really fantastic stuff.
Baga Naga is only for the experience.
Yes. And we've got the glitter stem as well. If you're into the spice, it's right. We keep it regulated, so it's all good, guys.
All right, guys. Thanks for coming on. Can't wait to talk to you again. So let's get out of here and wrap everything up. All right. And once again, I want to thank Urzatron for coming on to the show, talking to us. It was great having him, great talking to him. Hope to have him on here again at some point. So,
yeah, I want to be able to holler at him. I learned a lot.
Yeah, we will definitely have him on. We'll get Stan involved too a little bit more next time also, because I know Urza definitely wants to go through and talk to Stan and work out some teams. So before we start getting out of here, let's talk about the Marquee Watch. We kind of went into it, saying B28 actually went into that hard node. But what do we have coming up next here, Stan?
Next on shipments, again, I mentioned Juhani and Karth should be hitting. Let's see. Wait, no, they already hit shipment. I'm sorry.
We got Andy ETA, right?
Yeah, that's gonna be the next one, and that's it. We have nothing else coming to shipments until a new character comes out.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Annie's ship here. We have it saying approximate free-to-play date as 1/23. So I wouldn't be surprised because they got to throw in the Millennium Falcon into the game with his event, that he gets actually placed into the game this week. And then we'll kind of have a dead week from CG next week.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting how they handle this, because we went a whole month without a marquee event. Actually, over a month now. Our last marquee was Karth on December 1st. So we are way past due for some marquees.
And with this legendary event, it does not seem like we're going to be getting a marquee character this week. It'd be very unusual that they released a marquee character during a first run of a legendary event also next week. So we could be looking at like February 1st before we see our next marquee character, which is my mind is absolutely blown that we would be waiting 2 months in between marquee characters.
Yeah, that's, community said they were burnt out on marquees, so you got your break. Never thought I'd say, hey, I can't wait for another marquee event.
Yeah, it's good and bad. I am getting caught up on my farms, getting caught up on a couple gearing. It's giving me the opportunity to consider some, like I was talking with Urzatron, considering what of these oddball teams I would actually like to, these anti-meta teams I would like to build now, since I do have a little bit of lead time and play within my roster now with the lag here with the marquee characters. So I like it. I enjoy this part. It's given me a lot more enjoyment of the game and slowing it down just a little bit. This might be a little bit too much, but hey, I will take it to give us a little bit of a break.
Yeah, for sure. I think the game's really in a good spot right now. I'm really excited to see what happens next.
Yeah, I'm really curious about this road ahead post to see where they're going with this, whether it's going to be an update to territory battles like we talked about, because that seems like the game mode that's really lagging behind currently, or if they go a different direction. So let's start getting on out of here. Let's figure out what you're bumping and grinding on, because I think everybody knows you're bumping and grinding on those ships, but who you gearing up at least?
Well, I was gearing up Sith, trying to build that last little team for Grand Arena. They're still kind of on standby, waiting for the next Grand Arena to drop, and I was kind of waiting to see what this territory world looked like before I really committed. But I'm kind of in a happy place with everything, so I think I'm just gonna sit on more gear and wait for Darth Revan or Malak or whoever is going to be the big February to do, and be able to gear him up right away, or her.
Oh man, you got to commit. I am.
I know.
I'm on the same boat as you as far as hard node farms with those ships, like we talked about. But I'm still going through. I'm missing just a couple more salvage pieces of that speedball, and then C-3PO will be gear 12, and working on Kira, L3, and Vandor Chewbacca, getting them up to gear 12, or since I'm waiting on stars with a few of them, going through and getting them to max gear 11 so I can take them to gear 12 afterwards. And then after I'm getting them in a nice spot, it'll be Mission and Zalbar to build up that scoundrel team. Gotta get those scoundrels.
I want to do Mission, gear her up. That would be pretty cool. It's just never gets a chance to go to bat. He's always in the dugout.
Wait, says the guy who's like, I'm going to hold off on gearing things. I was going to gear Sith, but I'm not sure. Just commit. Go with Mission.
Nah. Can't bring myself to do it.
So non-committal.
I am.
Do Fulcrum.
I like seeing all those pluses everywhere.
Do Visas Mar.
That might be a good idea.
But you'll have to go back. When you listen to Urzatron, Urza has a very good Rex Wampa team that involves Visas Mar that I think you would really enjoy. It would be great in Grand Arena and Territory Wars for you.
Okay, I'll have to take a look at that.
Yeah, definitely take a look. I know you had the rest of the pieces set up for that team. You would just need Visas, and I think that would be a great character for you to work on currently. That's not a huge commitment like building a whole team, but just enough to have a little bit of fun with.
Well, my Visas right now, she's at gear 8, so it wouldn't...
No, it's just one character, though. It's not like you're building 3 or 4 characters. You can go through and put a Zeta on her if you want, but overall, just a fun character.
Well, she needs a stun gun.
Everybody needs a stun gun. Get over it. Get over it.
Yeah, I'll work on that.
So, let's wrap everything up and get on out of here. So, why don't you start sweeping up the podcast here?
Right, yeah, sweep. Leave us a review. Tell your friends. Join our Discord. Let us know what you think of the interview format. Who else you'd like to see us get on the show. You can email us at cantinavisla@gmail.com. You can find us on thealliancegaming.com along with a bunch of other great content creators. And if so inclined, check us out on patreon.com/cantinavisla. We would appreciate the support there. Our $5 tier will get you access to our Grand Arena Recon room, where we will do roster reviews for you and your enemy and help you with your placement and strategy if you would like. So check that out.
Definitely, guys. So until next time, when hopefully we have the Millennium Falcon within our hands.
Yeah, good luck, everybody.
Yeah, good luck, and keep on farming those hard nodes. Later, guys.
As you are exiting the cantina, we would like to say thanks for stopping by, and we hope to see you out on the holo table soon.